A legacy reborn. The cutting glances followed Maya from the moment she entered the office of Attorney Garcia. At just 17 years old, her dark skin, natural curls, and simple clothes made her an anomaly in the opulent space. The hushed whispers started almost immediately. Who let the cleaning lady into the meeting? The question from Victor Caldwell, the nephew of the late business magnate Edward Caldwell, echoed through the room. A wave of snickers followed. Maya stood still, her eyes fixed on the empty chair in the center. Her aunt, Christina Caldwell, a woman draped in excessive jewelry and a designer dress, didn't even bother to lower her voice. Must be another one of my brother's social causes. She's probably here to ask for a donation. Maya took a deep breath, refusing to let the words show how much they stung. She scanned the room, looking at the photos and plaques that signified the empire Edward Caldwell had built over 6 decades. The girl is probably lost, said Ricardo Caldwell, Edward's eldest son, with a dismissive wave. Someone show her out before Mr. Garcia arrives. It's embarrassing. A faint smile touched Maya's lips as Enrique Garcia, the family's lawyer for 30 years, entered the room carrying a brown briefcase. His face was impassive as he greeted each member of the Caldwell family with a brief nod. Miss Maya, he said, gesturing to the empty seat next to his desk. Please. A shocked silence filled the room. Victor nearly choked on his champagne. Christina clutched her purse so tightly that her knuckles turned white. Excuse me, Garcia, Ricardo interrupted, adjusting his Italian tie. Do you know this girl? The lawyer nodded. Of course, you all should, too. This is Maya Alston, the daughter of Celeste Alston, the maid's daughter. Christina spat the words. What's she doing at a private family will reading? Maya finally sat down, her posture straight, her face serene despite the palpable hostility. She had promised herself she wouldn't cry, not after everything she had been through. Garcia meticulously opened his briefcase. We are all here for the reading of the final will and testament of Edward Caldwell, who passed away 3 weeks ago. Patricia Caldwell, Edward's niece, who had been engrossed in her phone, took a quick photo of Maya. Intruder wielding, she typed, posting it on social media with the caption, "Lackey trying to pull a fast one even after their boss is dead." Victor leaned in to whisper to his brother, I bet Uncle left some change for charity. Maybe a scholarship for the girl. $10,000, tops. Before beginning the official reading, Garcia announced, Edward left a video that is to be played before the formal reading. Ricardo rolled his eyes. Another one of my father's little plays. Let's get down to business. The lawyer ignored him and activated a screen. The aged face of Edward Caldwell appeared, visibly worn down by illness, but his eyes held a determined glint. If you are watching this, then I have left this world, he began, his voice firm, and I imagine you are eager to know how I have divided my estate. He paused, his eyes seeming to examine each person in the room. But before that, I have a question. Can any of you tell me the name of Celeste's daughter? An uncomfortable silence fell. Ricardo frowned. Victor scratched the back of his neck. Christina pretended to examine her fingernails. I figured you wouldn't, Edward continued, a sad smile on his face. That girl has been working in our house for 5 years, helping her mother since she was 12, and none of you, my own family, ever bothered to learn her name. Maya felt a lump in her throat as Edward continued. I watched how you treated her, how you treated all the employees, as if they were invisible, disposable. His face hardened, and that told me everything I needed to know about the character you've built. The video ended. Tension filled the room. Patricia had dropped her phone. Victor swallowed hard. Ricardo shifted uncomfortably in his chair. There is one more video, Garcia announced. But first, I need to read the main terms of the will. This is absurd. Victor exploded. A little maid can't inherit the empire our family has built 4 generations. Maya finally spoke, her voice calm. Your family built nothing, Mr. Victor. Your great-uncle Edward started out selling fruit at a market. The only ones born with a silver spoon are you. The silence that followed was deafening. Garcia cleared his throat and began to read. I, Edward Caldwell, Leave to Maya Alston 51% of the shares of Caldwell Industries, my primary residence, and all properties listed in Appendix A, as well as the sum of $20 million in various investments. This is undue influence, Ricardo shouted, his face contorted with rage. That girl manipulated a sick man. If you'll allow me to continue, Garcia said, raising a hand. There are conditions. Maya will only take full control at age 21. Until then, the company will be managed by a board led by myself and Dr. Luisa Mendez. The doctor, Christina interrupted. What does she have to do with this? As if on cue, the door opened and a middle-aged black woman in an elegant suit entered. Her eyes met Maya's, and she smiled. Dr. Mendez was much more than your brother's doctor, Garcia explained. She was the one who introduced Maya to Edward after witnessing how the young woman cared for her mother, Celeste, in the hospital. Dr. Mendez nodded. Celeste and I studied together before life took us on different paths. When I found her in the hospital battling a cancer similar to Edward's, I couldn't help but notice what an extraordinary daughter she had. The lawyer pulled out another flash drive. There's one more video. Edward asked that it only be shown if there was a dispute. Edward's frail but determined face reappeared on the screen. If you are watching this video, it means my family is contesting my decisions. I am in full possession of my mental faculties. I made these arrangements after months of observation and recorded conversations that document the behavior of each of you. He paused to breathe. Maya did not manipulate me. On the contrary, she initially refused my offer. It took a lot of persuasion to convince her to accept. As for my decision, look in the mirror. You are not my heirs because of what you have built, but because of the accident of birth. The screen showed a series of short videos. Ricardo yelling at employees, Christina firing Celeste, Victor ridiculing an elderly driver, Patricia making openly racist comments at a party. Each scene was a slap in the face to those present. Edward had systematically documented his family's daily cruelty. What makes this even more extraordinary, Dr. Mendez said, placing a hand on Maya's shoulder, is that Edward wasn't just building a case. He was giving Maya something much more valuable than money, the power to change the system. This is absurd, Ricardo shouted, lunging toward Maya. Two security guards appeared discreetly at the sides of the room. Garcia had thought of everything. What right exactly, Mr. Ricardo? Maya spoke calmly. The right to be born a Caldwell, because as far as I know, the only right you have exercised with excellence is the right to humiliate people if you're inferior. Dr. Mendez took out a tablet. Edward knew this would be difficult. That's why he prepared something special for the family. An aerial image of a slum appeared on the screen. Do you recognize this place? Christina snorted. Why would we know a slum? Because your family owns it, Louisa replied. Or rather, it did. These lands were secretly purchased by Edward's grandfather 70 years ago when he displaced 200 families to build the company's first shopping mall. And what does that have to do with anything? Victor hissed. Maya finally smiled. It's simple. Those properties are now mine, and I have already signed the documents, transferring them back to the families who live there, free of charge. The room exploded in shouts. Ricardo knocked over a chair. Patricia was crying openly. I don't want your money, Maya continued. I want justice. And justice means returning what was unjustly taken. There's more, Garcia announced. The transfer of the company's shares to Maya has already been registered. Her first act as majority shareholder was to approve a compensation package for all employees who were unfairly dismissed in the last 10 years. That will ruin the company, Ricardo shouted. Years of work destroyed by stupid revenge. It's not revenge, Maya replied. It's reparation. There's a fundamental difference. Dr. Mendez turned on the television in the living room. A live news report showed dozens of former employees being called back, receiving severance pay, some crying with emotion. This is happening right now, Louisa explained. We planned everything to coincide with the reading of the will. You destroyed us, Christina whispered, her face contorted with rage. Maya stood and walked to the window. The Caldwell empire is not being destroyed, Mrs. Caldwell. It is being transformed. Its market value will probably fall for a few months, but it will recover. The difference is that now the profits will be distributed fairly. You don't have the experience to run a conglomerate of this size, Ricardo challenged. In less than a year, you'll be begging us for help. You're right. I don't have experience. That's why I won't be running anything. Garcia pressed a button and the doors opened. 5 people entered, 3 women and 2 men, all dressed in simple clothes. Meet the new board of directors of Caldwell Industries, Maya announced. Former employees whom your father fired when they tried to form a union. People with decades of practical experience and innovative ideas that were ignored because they came from below. A gray-haired man stepped forward. Hello, Mr. Ricardo. Remember me? Carlos Mendez. I worked in the finance department for 25 years until I was fired for suggesting a profit-sharing plan for employees. This is insane, Victor shouted. You can't give the company to these people, Dr. Mendez smiled. It's already been done. The paperwork was signed before you even arrived today. You will still have your minority shares. You will be able to receive dividends, attend annual meetings, just like any other shareholder. Ricardo staggered to a chair, his face pale. My father would not have done this. Your father did this, Maya replied softly, because in the end, he understood something fundamental. The true legacy is not in the money we accumulate, but in the lives we touch. Patricia stood up furiously. You won't get away with this. I have friends in the press. I'll expose this fraud. Maya exchanged a glance with Garcia, who activated the screen again. A video appeared of Patricia drunk, making openly racist comments about waiters. I have hundreds of hours of this kind of material, Maya said calmly. All of you in private moments, showing who you really are when you think no one important is watching. Victor, once arrogant, now looked like he had aged 10 years. What do you want from us anyway? I want you to learn, Maya replied. I want you to understand for the first time in your lives what it's like to have no power. What it's like to be judged not by your character, but by the color of your skin or your social status. Dr. Mendez handed folders to each family member. These are your options. You can contest the will, of course. We have lawyers prepared 4 years of legal battle. Or you can accept a peaceful transition. What kind of transition? Ricardo asked, his voice now devoid of arrogance. You keep your homes and a monthly income, Garcia explained. In exchange, you participate in a social awareness program, volunteer work in the communities your family exploited, diversity and inclusion courses, a full year seeing the world through different eyes. And if we refuse? Christina challenged, though her tone already betrayed defeat. Maya stepped forward, her eyes meeting Christina's without anger. If you refuse, that's fine. There is no punishment, only natural consequences. The videos will be released. The lawsuits will continue. Your names will be publicly associated with the legacy of exploitation that Edward wanted to correct. The silence that followed was profound. One by one, the Caldwells realized they were not just facing a teenager, but a much greater transformation. Ricardo, still resisting, muttered, "This won't work. You're just a girl. This empire will crumble in your hands." Maya smiled with genuine compassion. You still don't understand. It was never yours to begin with, and it's not mine now. It belongs to everyone who built it. Brick by brick, day after day. She turned to the window, watching the world outside. 6 months later, the headquarters of Caldwell Industries, once a temple to elitism, now housed a community center on the ground floor where young people from underserved neighborhoods received free classes in entrepreneurship, technology, and civil rights. Maya walked through the corridors, greeting employees by name, a practice Edward had tried to institute, but which his family never adopted. Last quarter's profits were up 12%, reported Carlos Mendez, now the chief financial officer. The employee profit sharing program has been a success. Productivity is at an all-time high. And the housing project on the former estates? Maya asked. 300 families have already received definitive deeds, replied Dr. Mendez, who coordinated the social responsibility program. The worker cooperatives will begin operating next month. In a cafe downtown, Ricardo watched from afar the new billboard for Caldwell Industries. The slogan, "Building a Fairer Future," was emblazoned next to a photo of Maya and the new, diverse board of directors. His expensive suit had been replaced by simple clothes. His luxury car had been sold to pay off debts. He was the only one of the Caldwells who had refused Maya's offer. Too proud to accept the social awareness program, he preferred to fight in court and lost every case, watching his reputation be destroyed by the videos Edward had carefully collected. Ricardo's phone vibrated with a notification. Administrative assistant position, social reintegration program. He had hit rock bottom. Considering working for the company he once considered his rightful place. On the same sidewalk, Patricia was carrying materials for an anti-racism education course. After her humiliating post about Maya went viral in a negative way, destroying her career as an influencer, she was the first to accept the awareness program. She saw Ricardo. "The program isn't as bad as it seems," she said hesitantly. "In fact, it's been transformative. Maya doesn't want to destroy us. She really wants us to learn." The tears Ricardo had been trying to hold back finally flowed. At the company headquarters, Maya was leading a meeting with international investors interested in the new socially responsible business model she had implemented. Journalists waited in the lobby for an interview about the success story already being studied in universities. "I don't understand," commented one of the investors. "Why not punish that family completely? They treated you horribly." Maya smiled serenely. "Because true transformation doesn't come from punishment, but from understanding. They needed to understand the world beyond their privileges. Some are already learning, and those who refused my offer, like Ricardo." "Sometimes," Maya replied, "people need to hit rock bottom to finally look up. Just today I received a message. He's considering the reintegration program." On the one-year anniversary of the new Caldwell Industries, Maya inaugurated the Edward Caldwell Institute for Social Equity. In the audience, among scholarship students and new employees, were Christina, Victor, and surprisingly, Ricardo, still uncomfortable in his intern uniform from the reintegration program, but present nonetheless. "Prejudice," Maya said, "is not overcome simply by exposing the prejudiced. It is overcome when we transform structures and offer people the opportunity to see beyond their bubbles." As she spoke, Celeste watched proudly from the front row. Her cancer was in remission. Her future was ahead of her, and she had the certainty that her daughter had turned humiliation into a revolution. What no one could have predicted when Maya walked into that room was that the humiliated teenager wasn't just inheriting a company. She was starting a movement that, community by community, company by company, would change the meaning of power and privilege in society.